Welcome back for another top-notch video. This week, guys, we're going to be making a giraffe. So with this giraffe, guys, what we're going to be using today is some glue, cutting wheel or pizza cutter, note card, ruler, pencil, marker, swivel knife or X-Acto tool, some construction paper, and a cutting board. So diving right into it, guys, what we're going to be starting off with is a pattern. And with a pattern, what we're going to need to do is start with something like this. This is the pattern that I cut out. And as you can see, this one is kind of bigger like the one we did a couple weeks ago. Some of the things to really pay attention to when doing this project is the small cut here. And then where it's going to come up here to the paper, this right here where it's going to come up to that crease line here and here. Okay, guys, those are very important spots to keep in mind as we make this project this week. So with making this project, as you can see, I made a cutout here, and I'm going to just take some measurements for you guys so you can get an idea of how big this thing is. From the tail to the head, we're going to be looking at about 15.5 centimeters. The face from the nose to the back of the head is about 3 centimeters, a little less than that. The width of the face, this one's a little bit thick. I'd like to do it a little bit less than that. Is going to be a centimeter or a centimeter and a half. The neckline from my folds to the top of the head is going to be about 7 centimeters. The legs to the body are about 7 centimeters and 6 centimeters. The legs spacing apart from each other are about from the front of the back hoof to the back of the front hoof. It's going to be 2 centimeters. The tail is going to be a total of just under 3.5 centimeters, and then the foot to the back all the way to the top of the back is going to be almost 8.5 centimeters. The width of the body I have is just under 3.5 centimeters. So that gives you guys a good idea of what this giraffe will look like. And as I said, you got to be really careful in some of these spots here, up on the back here, and on the very top of the head. So moving right into it, we're going to start with a note card so we can get that nice pattern with our giraffe. And I'm going to show you guys how to draw this out, okay? So I like to start with the back of the giraffe. That's the best way in my opinion. So we're going to start down here, and we're going to call this the tail, and this will be the... So with that, we're going to start right here, and we're going to go right into the tail. Now with the tail, you want to make sure that you have just a little, kind of little bowed out, so it looks not so much like this one here. I didn't do a very good job on this one, as you can see. I want it more looking like this. So we're going to start by the very top. This will be your crease line along your paper, so just remember that. We're going to start by doing a little line here and a little line here to give you kind of like an arrow looking down, okay? And then with that, we're going to make a small cut line in the paper and bring that right back up to the top. And then we're going to make another little cut line here and then slowly bring it up till it makes it bigger and bigger and bigger, just like that. And that is going to be your tail. Then moving to the back end of the giraffe, we're going to go down. We're going to give a nice little curve for the rear, and then moving into the back leg. Now with the back leg, you're going to want to just have a kind of a curvature out. With that curvature out, it gives you that really nice realistic effect of the leg. And then moving down, we're going to go into the hoof. Now there's this little, I don't remember what it's called, but it's the back of the hoof here, and then the bottom of the hoof. And that'll give you a pretty big hoof. You want to have a giant hoof because that way your giraffe will be able to stand on its own. Moving back now up into the upper part of the leg. This is pretty simple, straightforward. Right about halfway up that leg, you're going to want to move towards the back of the giraffe. So that gives you a solid back foot. Now moving to the underside of the giraffe, that's just going to be about, I didn't get a measurement on that. I would say 1.5 centimeters for the underbelly, and then we're going to move into the second leg here. Now with these legs, it's good to have a little bit of character with them, so I add just a kind of a little bumpy lines because, as you know, animals are never straight, so that gives it a little more realistic effect. Moving into the second hoof here, in and then out to the bottom, and then another big hoof here so it can stand on its own. Coming up the backside, we're going to bow it out a little bit for its knee. As you can see, I have a little knee area right in the middle here of its leg. And we're going to continue up this giraffe into the neckline. Now, this is the front of the giraffe, sort of its chest. You want to kind of give it, it almost looks like almost a different part right here. It comes up and bows in, and then we go straight into the neck. Moving into the neck, we're going to come all the way up until we get to the head. And then the head, you want to have a little bit of its cheek down and then up for the nose. And the nose is going to come into the face and the eyes and then into the ears. Now with the ears, it's really important that you want to get one loop, and then the second loop has to touch the top of your crease, but make it look kind of round and natural, and then it comes back down. See how I did that, guys? And then finally, we're going to come to the back side of the neck. The back side of the neck is the exact same way. You want to have this so it almost looks curved, but you're on a straight edge. To give you an idea, as you can see how that is connected there when we get our final product, but it's only done by being very, very careful with this fold, or having this touch up here and this touch here. It's very critical to make your giraffe touch in those two spots so that it can, it'll be able to stick together and give it a realistic effect. So we have 1, 2, and we're going to have 3 dips here. So this is the third dip. This is the one for the lower back. And then really 4 dips because you have one for the tail down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 dips to get your giraffe. The only other thing you need to worry about are your folds. For your folds, you're going to have 2 coming out from the neckline to the body. One's going to go straight from this crease into the back of that fold, and then one straight up. The other crease, your other crease you're going to have is from your tail here, up there, and then for the legs, you're going to crease those so that you have that realistic 3D effect going. So those are going to go right up the giraffe. And to give you guys a better idea, I did it on the back here. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 dips there. We have our legs with our creases in them, and our fold as well in the neck / the body, and the one on the tail. Outlined pretty good. And then what you're going to want to do is cut this out. So with the cutting it out, I would do these little dips first. That's very important. Makes it easier on you. Always go towards yourself with the X-Acto knife. And if you have a swivel X-Acto knife, it makes it easy to get these dips out. Once you have the dips out, you can just go ahead and cut the rest of the giraffe out. And once you have the entire thing cut out, and like I said, when you cut it out, it's very important you leave a little space here at the top, some space here at the top, space all the way down the tail, and one little spot on the tail down here. Okay? Once you get it all cut out, your giraffe is going to look something like this. Okay? So this is your pattern. Mine turned out pretty well, actually. I'm pretty impressed with the way that it turned out. As you can see, the feet look pretty good down here at the bottom, and I am ready for my construction paper. With my construction paper, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fold that directly in half, okay? And once you have it folded in half, you're going to want to make sure this crease is extremely well creased. Like I would go over it 6 to 7 times with your fingers just to make sure you have a very, very good crease. And then you're going to fold it on this side, and you're going to take your pattern and you're going to put your pattern right on there, and you're going to retrace your pattern onto the construction paper. Once you have your giraffe traced completely onto your construction paper, you can remove the pattern. Go ahead and start cutting it out. Once again, emphasizing that you leave this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. There's 4 dips and 5 spots you got to leave on this crease line, so that when you cut it out, it will be able to stand by itself and have a good 3D effect. Once again, with cutting, I would start with these very, very top areas. Be very careful on the feet, guys. That can be a tricky area. So just take your time when you're cutting this thing out. Patience is key. Careful with the top here again. Very, very important that you leave a little bit of space so that that top will always be connected. This can get a little tricky. So once you guys have it cut out, it should just pop out. If it doesn't, make sure you go to the back side. You can kind of see where your lines are, but it should pop out. If it doesn't, go over it again with the X-Acto knife. You can discard the construction paper. As you can see, we are starting to get a lot closer to getting our giraffe to 3D. So the next step with this giraffe is going over the fold lines with your pizza cutter. With this, you're going to want to go over them about 6 to 7 times. Good pressure, but not so much to where you cut the paper. With the neck, be careful to get right on that spot from the neck into the body. And then if you want, you can go to the back side. You can barely see where these fold lines are. Make sure you get them in about the same spot, and you can hit them again on the back side. I would definitely do it for the legs and fold it both ways, both fingers, like we did with the snake a couple weeks ago, and push out on those. Just a tad, because the legs can be very touchy. Make sure you do the legs on the back side. And once again, I use marker just to show you guys kind of where my fold lines are. I wouldn't suggest that. I would just use pencil, and then that way you can go back and you can erase all your fold lines after you're done. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is fold the giraffe neck. Okay, so important to bring the head all the way down and in. Okay, so that's what it will sort of look like, down and in. The head will always kind of be in the back there. And then watch the second fold line. So the second fold line is going tricky, down and in. Okay, I'm sorry, second fold line down and in. And the first fold line right here is going to come up. And when you have it just like that, first fold line down, second fold line up, the head will pop up. As you can see, we have a good connection here on the neck and on the little ears on the top. And it brings it in up to a pretty good neckline here. So there we have that. We have good connection on the top here and on the head there. And now we're going to go ahead and do the tail. Tail is going to flip downwards, just like this. Okay, so when you flip that line down, it's going to reverse fold the tail on the top of what we did. And you have to be very careful here. Now, the angle of my tail turned out a little low, so just be aware of that. If you want it a little bit higher, such as like here, but you don't want it too high, you're going to have to change the angle of where your tail was. But overall, I'm pretty happy with where that turned out. It's not too bad. Okay. So as you can see, we have that, and it should get close to being able to stand on its own. As you can see, I'll back that up. So there is the neck and the tail combined. Okay, and now we're going to go into gluing. So with gluing, guys, you're going to put a little dot up here on the top and a little dot here on the tail. Okay, and that gets you pretty close to what you want with your giraffe. The last spot you want to glue after you get the tail done and the head done, now just it's a little bit of glue, is you're going to want one spot right here on the front of the neck. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And once you complete that, guys, you should end up with a product something similar to what I have here. Okay, and the only last thing you're going to want to do is shape the body a little bit, shape the legs a little bit, get that form set. And sometimes what you can do is you can push down on the giraffe here, right? Just push together the body like this, so the legs are going towards each other, and it gives it a nice 3D effect. And that will complete our project for today, guys. As you can see, doesn't look so bad. That is our project for our giraffe. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video. As always, like, subscribe, or share on a craft Facebook page or something like that. If you guys have any questions, you can write them in the comments below. Really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching another top-notch video. We'll see you guys next time.